has a facial expression which suggests he is focused on business here. You may have heard on ITV last night about Bordeaux's monstrously long tunnel through which it took Manchester United 2.5 minutes to travel. By contrast, Chelsea's is just about the shortest we see. Little more than one very small step for Chelsea ahead of what may be a vast leap along the Champions League road. This is a supporter-based ground which is growing to match its residents' ambitions. Within a few months, 42,500 will be able to get inside of here. Tonight, another 30+ thousand sell out. And they haven't seen home defeat for Chelsea this side of Christmas. There is l'équipe aux deux visages. Marseille is becoming known as the two-faced team of France. So much gloom this season, and then Manchester United, and then a thrashing of Paris Saint-Germain recently, and then Chelsea last week, described in the French press as one of the great nights. Not for Chelsea, who are hardly the most predictable themselves. Before Christmas, domestic form was tripping up over the perceived hurdle of continental exertion. Now all is well at home again, top three, cup semi-final. Only Europe needs hasty promotion from the back burner. Gus Poyet there, goal at Newcastle over the weekend. They're firing in the Premiership. Best part of 500 have come from Marseille. The danger of the double-header was always that any ill will may spill from one week into the next. Not the case here. These handshakes follow a game last week which didn't contain a single booking. The only barely combustible fuel, a reported indignation in the Marseille camp that Chelsea didn't take them seriously. If that is the case, and it isn't, it won't happen again.
17 Ferren, 19 Flo, 20 Morris.
Less of the smoke, more of the noise, please, tonight. Luca Vialli was as elusive on the subject of team selection as I've seen him in Europe this season. Eventually, three major issues resolved as follows. Marcel Desailly is fit to hold off the challenge of Emerson Thomas, centre-back. Didier Deschamps withdrawn last week, reinstated now. No Di Matteo or Petrescu. And Gus Poyet is expected to operate free behind the front two there. Sutton had been rumoured, but Flo plays. Marseille, a lot simpler. 10 of these 11 started last Tuesday, since when, thanks to their premature elimination from the French Cup, they haven't played. The former Sheffield Wednesday fullback Patrick Blondeau has a thigh injury, but the former Blackburn fullback Sebastian Perez returns from suspension to replace him. Last week's match winner Robert Pires assumes the armband. Disappointment to anyone in the battle against the ageing process. Let's face it, that's all of us. Chelsea's 35-year-old number 35 doesn't name himself amongst the substitutes. There's no Vialli. The Spanish referee need have no fear of Chelsea's players, who between them have collected just one yellow card in 3 Phase 2 matches. But David, players make games, and you've picked us out a couple.
Yeah, Deschamps is a more vital player than many imagine. He covers the more creative players, he breaks up attacks, he tackles well and distributes simply. He's been dubbed the water carrier by Cantona, but an important one at that. This man, Pires, captain, 27 now, so far has been denied a lucrative transfer outside France, but he's caused problems for Chelsea last week with his foraging and direct dribbling approach. Will he be man-marked this evening?
Champions League Group D. Halfway through and still making no sense at all. It is the illogical group. It's the group in which each of them, having played each other once, Marseille have beaten Chelsea, who've beaten Feyenoord, who've beaten Lazio, who've beaten Marseille. It's a circle of uncertainty out of which Chelsea want to climb. This is Dalmat for Marseille with the first crack, nor is it anything other than respectable. The former Lens player who incommoded Arsenal in last year's competition. Ferrer. That's Bardonado facing the wrong way, one of 3 central defenders in what is still a Marseille lineup denuded of 1 or 2 of its better players. Ball's been given away to Poyet!
Most dreadful pass that by Dalmat. across the face of his defence, which Poyet sees on quickly. There you saw, good save by Hedoy, getting down quickly. But there you saw Dalmat, really, both sides of him, attacking, having that early shot, and then making an awful pass.
And Poyet was nearly able to make the most of it. And already evidence of his slightly adjusted position infield and behind two strikers. Leboeuf. Deschamps, who has so much kudos in the perception of many to win back. Poyet, who's been the busiest and most noticeable of the early involved players. Wise trying to find Zola, and a Bardonado across and clearing. Deschamps, who lifted the trophy for Marseille. Leboeuf, who was born on the outskirts of Marseille and who has a road named after him in Saint-Cyr, just outside the city where Chelsea stayed last week. And this is Babayaro playing a home game to Stamford Bridge for the first time this year after his African adventure. Wise. Oh, Zola's got in front of the last defender, who is a Bardonado, and has made himself space and has Poyet waiting in the middle and has crossed as far only as Cyprien, and Morris has gone in there, and Deschamps is still competing, and Pires is able to bring it momentarily clear before clattering into Wise, against whom the free kick is awarded.
There's a good progressive move by Chelsea. Zola making it with that forward run. Here we see that bad pass across the face of the goal again, where Poyet hit his shot slightly hurriedly and past the post.
Dalmat. Out by Desailly, whose place in the lineup was open to debate until quite late in the piece. Brando. Bakayoko. And clear from Leboeuf. This is Luxin, who impressed everyone as a makeshift sweeper last week and gets the gig again this time round. Deschamps, Flo, nice touch. Poyet, Zola's free again. Dalmat rather labouring to get back. Bardonado holding up the little Italian, who couldn't ride his challenge. Dalmat for Bakayoko. Deschamps going in there and being penalised. A lot of talk about this fella in the days leading up to the game. Left out at Newcastle as part of the rotational system. One or two little stories about a dispute between him and the manager, but all seems to be peace and harmony again, if indeed it was anything other than that. Desailly in at the back of Puget. Got that nasty gash over in the south of France, back amongst his roots, and in fact it was Puget whose studs caused the injury, albeit inadvertently. Pires with the free kick. Leroy gave it him back, another player who truly impressed 8 days ago. Luxin. Bardonado. Dalmat is wide. Brando is the simpler ball in field. Bakayoko is making tracks through the inside left channel there, and Leboeuf was in his pocket and has tried to set Flo free. Had a slightly nervy conversation with Trevisan, the young goalkeeper, who also excelled. One or two really fantastic saves, notably that late block of Poyet's point-blank header. Wise's throw, Deschamps wriggling in there and winning Chelsea their first corner. Looks pumped up, David.
Yeah, Chelsea forcing the issue down that side, looking to play balls. Zola running out into that area, Flo out into that area.
What an early goal would do for Chelsea in what may turn out to be a pivotal part of their group. Wise with the corner, Leboeuf can climb, Flo is there as well. It's come out to little Jody Morris, but the referee was in the vicinity of Flo's attempt to climb and deemed it worthy of punishment. Tore-Andre Flo, 14 goals for Chelsea this season. The top scorer, and clearly involved physically there with Cyprien.
It'll be interesting to see who can capitalise on the space best from full-back tonight, with Pires playing behind Puget and Bakayoko, and in the Chelsea side, Poyet playing in the space behind Zola and Flo. You would imagine that Babayaro and Ferrer for Chelsea, and Perez and Dalmat will be able to get forward.
Gianluca Vialli, how we would love to have seen him on the team sheet. It wasn't to be. 3 years and 10 months since his 7th Champions League appearance. He happened to win the pot. He decided not to have an 8th. Deschamps. Morris. Flo's going towards the back post. Zola's going near post. Poyet's arriving as well. Luxan's hooked it clear. Perez nicked it from Babayaro. Desailly. Babayaro. Morris. Jody Morris gets his chance. Petrescu's not even in the squad tonight. Di Matteo's missing from the starting lineup. It's 3 in midfield. We've become used to a 4-4-2. Change of shape, David. What's your thought on that?
Yes, well, it's very important for Chelsea that they are solid in the middle. I don't know whether Deschamps will have some work to do trying to stop Perez and may man mark him later on. But there's 2 real workers in there in Morris and Wise. And I think Chelsea last week went forward a bit too early, with a little bit of naivety. I think tonight they'll play it a little bit more tighter and safer in the centre of the field.
Leboeuf, Zola's nearly through, and Trevisan was mightily alert, as all those around him seemed to go into doze mode. Little Gianfranco Zola almost unnoticed in what actually is a very small Chelsea team. If you look at Wise and Morris and Deschamps, the French captain Didier Deschamps, 5'8", is the mighty man for Chelsea's midfield. Poyet adds thrust in the air. But here was a chance for Zola, very nearly, David.
Yeah, it was a good run, and Trevisan had to be most alert.
Desailly, Deschamps. Ran into Brando, broke for Puget, who went down under Deschamps' tackle, and Deschamps sees a yellow card. Only Albert Ferrer is on the brink, by the way, of suspension. Didier Deschamps picks up his first yellow of the competition. It was Puget who went over his outstretched leg. Leroy. Dalma. Comfortable gather for Ed de Hoy, Chelsea's new record-breaking goalkeeper. 22 clean sheets. Ferrer. Wise. Desailly, to whom no doubt much of the credit for those clean sheets should go. Babayaro. Morris got up well for a small man. Deschamps followed up well. Morris again now. Zola's pulled away wide. Flo's back post calling for it. It's aimed towards Tore-Andre Flo. And it's let go by Trevisan. He's had big nights in the Champions League as Flo. A couple of goals for the big Norwegian in Istanbul. Couple here against Feyenoord.
I think quite clearly Chelsea have a policy when they get it wide tonight to get the ball into the area a little bit quicker than they did in the game last week.
Perez. Morris. Emerged well with the ball, and Wise has gone on determinedly as well. Perez prevented it from coming through to Gianfranco Zola, but couldn't prevent the ball from going over the line, nor himself from tumbling potentially dangerously over the advertising hoardings. Former Blackburn player who last time he played against Chelsea was sent off in a spat with Dennis Wise, with Graham Lasso, I beg your pardon, in a very fiery game up at Ewood Park. Game, incidentally, in which Chris Sutton scored twice for Blackburn.
Chelsea pressing earlier. The onus is on Chelsea, and I think you can expect them to pressure on the edge of the defensive third of Marseille.
Celestine Babayaro actually asked for a little bit of space in this evening's match programme to apologise to Chelsea supporters for his prolonged absence after the African Nations Cup. All a big misunderstanding, honest God. Morris going in overzealously. He is a player underlined by zeal. The stud was high, actually.
That was a dreadful ball. that nearly became a good one. Trying to hit Dalmat on a crossfield ball from deep in his own half.
Bernardo, another one who's getting his chance because Gallas, who scored against Manchester United, is missing. Duma, who they signed from Newcastle, isn't eligible yet to play in Europe, and Blondo is missing tonight. So there have been some selectorial snags for Bernard Cassoni. Ferrer, Poyet, lovely flick. Flo's got clear. Zola's the only one waiting in the box. Could be enough. Zola! Oh, well charged down. Really important challenge by Cyprien. It's, in a way, a microcosm of Gianfranco Zola's season. They're just not going in for him. Desailly. Leboeuf. Poyet's timed his run well. And Trevisan has come with courage and good timing. And Flo's stolen it from him, but the referee's having none of it. Well, that's been a helter-skelter 30 seconds or so.
Here we see Poyet beat any suggestion of playing an offside trap there, looking for the forward ball, the drifted lob over the top. He was only inches away from lobbing it over Trevisan. And I think Zola will rue possibly the previous chance that he had, because it came to him nice and cleanly from Flo.
Babayaro away from Perez. Zola. Bouncing off them and finding Morris. More space for Desailly. Dennis Wise. Flo pulling away and taking on a Bernardo and winning Chelsea a corner. Just getting a little bit more up-tempo for Chelsea, who need that to be the case. Home game. One they're wanting to win, having to win in the perception of many.
There was never sufficient urgency in Marseille until the last 15 minutes, but tonight they've started more brightly.
Wise again to deliver. Poyet's got up high, and it's turned in so close to the line by Babayaro. And Trevisan, who saved at point-blank range right at the end of the first meeting, was face to face with trouble again there and flung out a hand.
Well, last week he seemed somewhat unorthodox, but he made one or two tremendous saves from close range, and there's another one.
Wise again, and Trevisan has come this time and didn't gather. And it's away by Bakayoko. All hands on deck for Marseille at the back. Under the cosh in the early stages. Ferrer, Leboeuf, Desailly still forward. Chelsea pressure. Deschamps is wide. Wise is onto it now. Leboeuf has it. Out by Cyprien, who blocked the Zola effort a short while ago. Babayaro back down the line. It was Celestine Babayaro who scored Chelsea's first goal in Europe this season. He's added to that since, and his return to Stamford Bridge was prevented from being an especially happy one by Trevisan's smothering save. Chelsea still 9-1 to win the whole of the Champions League. Marseille have drifted out to 66-1. De Hoy's kick wasn't a clever one. Perez is onto it. Puget has it now. Bakayoko's in the middle. Puget's had a cross-come shot, which turned out to be neither one thing nor the other.
Well, Perez's pass wasn't quite good enough, and Puget had to dig it out of his feet, and he didn't really get a clean strike. He had an option. Bakayoko was on the left. Give credit maybe there to Babayaro.
It has been a first quarter of an hour or so full of mistakes, the latest of which was courtesy of Frank Leboeuf. Puget, nice turn away from Babiyaro. Tidy player, actually. Leroy. Two of them went in, Deschamps and Morris. And neither is frightened to commit 100% of the tackle. Free kick, Perez. Puget. Poyet. Just went Luxin. Generally a midfield player, only 20 years old, an under-21 international.
He was one of those players last week for Marseille who did really well.
Babiyaro for Flo. Deschamps. Thought about a shooting chance maybe for a second, but then prodded it wide instead for Ferrer on the overlap. Ferrer's ball in, got a deflection, which turned out, in fact, to be a kind one. Chelsea have a notion that Leroy might have been affecting a back pass there. It would have been an odd decision.
4 Chelsea players in the box there for Ferrer to deliver. Got into a good position, courtesy of Deschamps' pass.
Perez is a strong, sturdy, confrontational defender. Puget. Bakayoko one way, Perez the other, Puget through the middle, Bakayoko to hold it up. He's got 2 over here, one of those is Leroy! Desailly covered, but Chelsea were at full stretch there. There were 2 over on the far side, David.
Yeah, good quick early passing, a nice move right to left. And Chelsea had Desailly to thank there for reading that situation.
Flow away from the edge of the 6-yard box. This is Cyprien. Perez. Brandao down the line. Wise was doing the jockeying. Back to square one with Luxin, who joined from Bordeaux during the summer on a 12-year contract. It's a smashing ball from Luxin. Brando is onto it. Bakayoko is waiting. Puget's waiting too. Out by Didier Deschamps. Chelsea being made to concentrate here. Perez. Dalma. Leroy is wide. And then disappoints with the cross. Massively disappoints.
It was a disappointing cross, but it was a disappointing ball too. Wasn't the most positive option that Dalmat had there to play that ball wide to Leroy.
There is Bernard Cassoni, still only 38 years old, one of the younger fellas in the dugout alongside Gianluca Vialli. He played in the Waddle team, which lost the 91 final in Bari. Leboeuf over the top. Morris found it hard to take. Dalma is there. He actually missed out on the game against Arsenal at Wembley last year because of injury. He played at home against Arsene Wenger's side. You may recall the game in which Tony Verral equalised in stoppage time. And Dalma was very impressive that night.
He loves playing through the middle, Peter. That's his position. He runs with the ball well. He's very quick to get away from players. Saw a little bit of him at Lens, went to watch him a couple of times, went for massive money by French standards for an internal transfer. And he has a brother, plays at Nantes, centre forward, younger player.
Cyprien has nowhere to go because of Zola. Strong enough to hold off Gianfranco Zola. Cyprien there, 31-year-old, who is wearing the shirt of Christophe Dugarry, who moved on to Bordeaux, as you may have seen on ITV last night. Dugarry wasn't eligible for Bordeaux, but Cyprien, who is on loan from Lecce, got the number 21 shirt when he disappeared. Ferrer. Flo chasing. Luxan going back. Flo's got between goalkeeper and defender and has gone to earth. He's clutching his face. And the way he's fluttering his eyelashes there suggests that there was physical contact, but the referee was quick to signal that he wanted the game to carry on.
Well, I think they were very optimistic noises. Those were, you see quite clearly there. There's the header, and it was just a collision, a natural collision. The goalkeeper was aiming for the ball, and his defender got there first, and Flo followed in and stumbled.
Zola. Deschamps. Babayaro. It's getting to the need-to-goal stage of the game. A bit reminiscent of the final tie here just before Christmas, when Chelsea had a few chances early on and you started to wonder whether it would happen, and eventually it did, and maybe it will now. Babayaro to deliver, and Trevisan's come and just about hung on. There was a bit of Harlem Globetrotters about that catch.
Fabulous pass by Wise that led to the cross.
Babayaro, Zola. Has touch in theory, but no one else was on his wavelength, and Pires has it now. And he's got away from Desailly as he did in the first game, and he's flung it to the near post, as he did to greater effect than that in the first game. And Bakayoko imparted the pressure, which earned Marseille a corner.
I do believe the referee at first pointed for a goal kick there and changed his mind. But a good break by Pires. He's been quiet so far. Deschamps never far away from him, and the two busy bees, Wise and Morris, always near.
Pires to deliver the corner, disappointingly to the first man at the near post, who was Poyet. Cyprien with a weak defensive header from the halfway line, which Poyet had a second nibble at. And then Morris gave it away again to Brando, and Brando's going to have a go, and Leboeuf has charged it down. And Deschamps held it up, and Leboeuf shuttled it forward, and Poyet got onto it. He has Flo ahead of him, Zola wide, Wise galloping up at the back stick. Zola. Zola's cross. Wise with a header. Bigger man maybe. Chelsea's little captain arched and climbed and craned. It's just the wrong angle for it. Wise again. Cyprien up in the air. Flo winning it. Dalma with an odd backward header. If he intended that, then he is a great player. Certainly a calm one.
Certainly a feature of the Chelsea game, how many crosses. Here we see again the header there. Flo heads it beyond it, really runs into him. Don't think there was any intent.
Pires. Well, Leboeuf took that calmly, really assured defending. Wise. And Flo is onside here. Held his line well, and now needs to keep it in play, and he's done just that, beneath the eye of the assistant referee. And Flo has stabbed it into the danger zone, and Luxan has stabbed it out of the danger zone, and Babayaro can fling it forward again. Morris. Wise. Deschamps, a little bit tight. Ferrer. Over the top for Zola, whose first touch wasn't all that he wanted it to be.
It's a very difficult ball to take, Peter, and it's quite windy down there. It's swirling. There we see Vialli. Won't be too disappointed about this start. They're in the ascendancy, making good forward runs into the channels, and they're getting crosses into the box quicker than last week.
This is Wise for Chelsea. Up by Pires. Babayaro climbed with Bakayoko. Juxtaposition of those two players makes for a fair tongue twister.
Who was on the back of who, Peter, there?
That's Desailly, we can manage him. Ferrer. Aimed at Poyet. Awkward for Cyprien. Flo. Oh, Perez has gone down clutching his face. And Flo has played on, and Zola has nudged it down, and Wise is in here, and Chelsea have the lead! While all around him slept, Dennis Wise came to life. He is loving the Champions League. It's his kind of scene, those are his kind of fans, this is his club, and he has established Chelsea's supremacy.
Once again, early ball, and a good header down, I think it was Zola, and a little pirouette by Wise into the opposite corner. There we see the header down, good anticipation by Wise, and as Trevisan came herring out, Wise beat him to the punch.
In Istanbul, in Milan, and now at home in the Champions League, Dennis Wise. Every goal he scores is a memorable goal because of the smile that follows it and the feeling that you know is going on inside of him. And the reason it all went quiet inside the Marseille penalty area is because Perez went down, and this is when he went down. Now, it's undeniable that Flo's arm was flailing a bit there, David, but it seemed to me to be a fair competition for the ball, and Wise finished.
Well, whether he accidentally caught him with a finger in his eye or something like that, but Perez went down poleaxed. Whether they lost concentration at that second, they gave Flo an opportunity to cross the ball. Strange goal, tallest man crossing the ball, the smallest man heading it down, and one of the smallest men, Wise, finishing it off. Just proves you can have small men heading as well if you get accurate balls into the box.
Well, Sebastian Perez has a history with Chelsea. As I mentioned before, he had quite a run-in with Graham Rousseau at Ewood Park last Premiership season and was sent off. And now he has a bloody nose. And there's the man who has bloodied his nose in a less literal sense by penalising the clocking off that Marseille did in the wake of that incident with Flo. And Chelsea now have their tails up, and Poyet has tried to free Flo. Cyprien, oh, Zola's stolen it from him. It's Gianfranco Zola. First touch was a great nick, second touch was looser than those we have come to associate with this little wizard.
It's brilliant goalkeeping by Trevisan. He was almost anticipating the mistake. He was dashing off his line as Cyprien lost possession.
Ferrer. Deschamps. Poyet. Wise. Morris for Babayaro. Good feel in the ground now. Zola, oh clever, and Babayaro's read it. And it took Cyprien momentarily out of the game. Babayaro to deliver to the back post, and Dalma to head away. As far as Dennis Wise, who's got a taste for it, but couldn't feed Poyet, and Dalma has emerged with ball at feet. Half an hour gone. Dennis Wise's goal separates the sides. Chelsea have never lost at home in Europe, and they're going about things the right way again, as they have done every time they've had continental opposition since it all began here 42 years ago. Puget ran away from Deschamps, delivered for Bakayoko, but Leboeuf's on his game. Leroy rose. Deschamps wanted to pick up the pieces, and the studs of Didier Deschamps were too close for comfort to Leroy, and Poyet actually went up with Leroy, and Deschamps arrived later on the scene. I was going to make the point that Deschamps, of course, has been booked, so must be careful, but it was Poyet in the end who was penalised. Ed de Hoy's record unsurpassed in Chelsea's history. There's still a bit of a stoppage because Perez is off receiving treatment. Still, Luxin is over the free kick. Luxin's hit it, always rising. His only goal this season was a big one in French domestic terms in Monaco, bit of a local derby. But this is a big one in continental terms for Chelsea. Flo's delivery, knocked down for Wise, whose grin was from ear to ear. Flo worrying Abadonado. Luxin back. Paul Leboeuf with an errant header. Puget. Caballero, Deschamps. Chelsea's free kick this time. It is actually getting a bit feisty in midfield there. That middle third has been a venue for one or two overly competitive challenges, and I've got to say there were two players there who were climbing but were leading with elbows, and Graham Rix is making the point, and Mike Banks there, the Chelsea physio, was almost anticipating problems.
Yeah, the annoyances with Pires quite obviously in that situation. I mean, at the moment, Chelsea territorially are definitely winning the battle. The three midfield players are hustling and scampering, and they're trying to play in the Marseille half. When Marseille get the ball, they don't look that comfortable at the back, and the front players haven't got the support of Pires. Pires so far quiet, no influence like he was in the early stages last week.
Leroy. Leroy failing to challenge Ed de Hoy, who's 22 clean sheets. The record have come in 42 games. It took Peter Bonetti 48 for his 21. Here's Gianfranco Zola at the other end. Delmar just craned enough. Poyet can still win this for Chelsea. Went over Leroy. The referee was happy with it. Pires. That's a good tackle by Deschamps. That's as clean as the day was long. And then Morris couldn't keep it in. It was Poyet right on the edge of the penalty area, and he was competing. There was no case to be had from Chelsea's viewpoint there. Puget. Oh, he's away from Leboeuf. Caballero timed his tackle well. Bakayoko's picked up the pieces. It's Ibrahima Bakayoko. It's a good save by De Hoy. The former Evertonian challenging the Dutchman meaningfully for the first time on the evening. Dalma. There was confusion ahead of that chance, though, which will concern those on the Chelsea bench. Dalma, Brando rising. Out by Wise, Dalma again. Chelsea are labouring at the back just now. Brando, Puget. Puget's delivery, and De Hoy's struggling. He just got a palm on it. Single-handedly for a moment, he's keeping Chelsea's noses in front. Given away to Deschamps, gathered now by Poyet. This is a really helter-skelter game now. They are flying it in midfield. There is feeling about this game. Morris has played an expert pass. Flo is onto it. Away from Abadonado. He's got plenty. He's got Poyet! They mean it down there. They really mean it. Now Desailly's got himself into trouble. Bakayoko's onto it. Puget's trying to find himself just a little gap. Bakayoko's played it in, and Leroy has hit it, and it's got a deflection wide.
He must have been the luckiest man alive to get that ball, Leroy, from Bakayoko, because quite simply they only had one player in the box when that ball came in the box. There we see the save, the tremendous save by De Hoy. There's Bakayoko's ball across the box. It took a deflection. And once again,
and it was
a great
Ferrer
block.
ahead of the goalkeeper, I think, David. De Hoy has come and gathered the corner. Albert Ferrer stuck out his right leg, and whether or not De Hoy would have made the save anyway is open to debate. But Chelsea were at full stretch again, and there have been alarming moments at the back for them.
Yeah, just occasionally Bakayoko's strength causes them problems.
Luxin. Perez. I gather that Perez may be on the point of being withdrawn after his little spat with Flo in advance of the Chelsea goal.
I've watched a couple of his recovery runs, Peter, when he's having to defend, and he looks like an outside right playing right back, because he's been very poor on recovery a couple of times.
And Perez is going to come off, and that is Yannick Fischer who is about to come on. Like Perez, suspended for the last game after being sent off in Rotterdam. And understand that the problem with Perez is that they can't stop his nose bleeding. Still to complete 90 minutes against Chelsea in 2 tries. Bit unfortunate, this one, though. No implication that Flo intended any harm. But that is a big-name player who is being taken out of the fray for Marseille. Yannick Fischer in his place. Rather more of a journeyman. Bordeaux, Cannes, Lorient. He's not stayed at a club for very long, though he has played for 1 or 2 biggish clubs. Zola through for Wise. Luxin cross-covering. Wise, by the way, stayed down out of picture. Oh, now Bakayoko has got involved at the other end with Leboeuf. You've got to have eyes all over the place right now. Wise is still injured. Bakayoko and Leboeuf had afters long since, after the ball had disappeared. And there are 2 potential focuses for attention there. He's yellow-carded Leboeuf. Now, what colour is the card going to be, if anything, for Bakayoko? Frank Leboeuf's 2nd yellow card of the tournament. He's 1 away from suspension now. There's Wise still down, going out of picture. There's Leboeuf at the behind of Bakayoko. Now, what occurred afterwards? Leboeuf's challenge was one thing, and, well, Bakayoko sought revenge. How much Leboeuf made of it is open to your interpretation, but Leboeuf's smile is perhaps understandable, because Bakayoko's reaction was bang out of order there, surely.
He certainly pushed him. Now you've got the definition of push as opposed to strike. He was annoyed with the challenge, he pushed him.
Well, it got out of control, didn't it? And Fernandez Marin there of Spain is refereeing a senior game in this country for the first time ever. And he obviously won't have been focusing on what happened to Dennis Wise there. And I suppose you could make a case for saying that Luxin went in fairly ferociously. But Wise, gladly, from Chelsea's viewpoint, is up. He's okay again. It is, for a referee and indeed for an observer, one of those eyes in the back of the head games. Oh, Deschamps gone in ferociously on Leroy. The referee has got to keep his hand away from his pocket here for Didier Deschamps. Look at the eyes of the official there, saying to him, 1 more and you're off.
Well, I think that was late, and I think that could well have been a yellow card, probably should have been a yellow card, which means Deschamps would have been dismissed. I think they've got to cool it down now. Deschamps is tackling hard, Leroy is in there, he's putting his foot in there. And the last thing Chelsea want at this stage is the game to boil over, because they're in control, they've got to keep calm and composed.
Too much fire in too many bellies. Wise over the top, and he's not one who is averse to a little fieriness. Zola. It's clever, got away from Delmar, that's what he's so good at. And his delivery was interesting as well, and Wise flung himself in, the little fellow where others would fear to go.
Once again, as soon as an opportunity to cross, the ball came in. Clever play. But I've rarely seen Chelsea cross the ball so many times from wide positions so early as they have done tonight. Normally they keep playing, working triangles, waiting for a chance to push someone through with a delicate pass. Tonight they're getting that ball into the box really early.
Less than 5 minutes plus stoppage time before half-time. One more before the break would make life feel considerably more comfortable for Chelsea. Leboeuf. That's a nice turn by Wise. He was too clever for them. And Leroy and Brando took him to earth. Really intelligent sleight of feet. Didn't have to touch the ball. Shifty eyes, drop of the shoulder. And farewell to two potential tacklers. Chelsea's free kick. Leboeuf waiting maybe to give one an almighty thump. It is Frank Leboeuf, it is an almighty thump, but it's in the final event a very comfortable catch for the goalkeeper.
Well, it was a good take because although it was 40 yards out, I would suggest it was going with some pace.
Wise. Deschamps can't keep it in. Just wonder about Didier Deschamps, David. The manager said of him he wanted effectiveness more than elegance. He wanted a Didier Deschamps who does what Didier Deschamps does so well, and perhaps there's a degree to which he's got overwhelmed up before this game. Oh, Morris, clever ball forward, hits Zola on the back. One of these days, Gianfranco Zola's going to take one of those down and thump in a volley. The top corner will ripple, and he'll be off and running again in front of goal, but it's not happened yet.
Yeah, but every time that little man makes a forward run, you see him searching out the space, the ball's been delivered early, and he's enjoying himself tonight. You have to feel sometimes that the back three of Marseille should just stand still and see if they can catch Chelsea and make them think twice about that ball over the top.
Morris, Poyet, Morris, Flo. Tries of handball down in the corner at the shed end. And they had a better view of it than we did. Abadonado is the potential culprit. It is a corner. Clever turn and pass by Morris. And yes, it did strike an arm. It would have been a harsh decision. Had it been given, it was a penalty. It was in the box. It's only a corner. Awful lot for discussion at half-time. Wise with the corner, lots of movement in the box. Desailly going in there. Oh, a missed kick by Dalma, and Babayaro's there! And Dalma hacks it clear.
Babayaro could have had two this half. The header, which brought the brilliant save from Trevisan, and there was more of a prod than a shot. Never really adjusted his feet. More in hope.
Well, Dalma got into trouble the first time. Fisher miskicked the second. And Babayaro went a cross goal and not a cross line. Leboeuf. Last minute of the 45. Aimed at Flo, who's won it well. Zola's looking to dash through the middle here. Deschamps picked up the pieces. He's carrying more than water here this evening. He is carrying boiling blood and desire. Ferrer's throw. Bakayoko out muscled Dennis Wise around the edge of the centre circle there. And is infuriated that he's penalised 2 extra minutes. That'll be for the Perez break. Leroy. Since his introduction, poor old Yannick Fischer kicked inside his own 6-yard box and allowed the ball to run underneath his feet at the other end.
Strange thing was, it was a crossfield ball of some pace from Leroy, and he could have easily played Dalmat in. Dalmat will be disappointed that he hasn't had more possession of the ball in that left wing-back role.
Oh, Pires has given it away. It's happened a lot. Wise. Flo, onside. Has he got an angle to hit it? Wouldn't come down for it. Babayaro's up, behind. Flo felt it was fouled. On by Bakayoko. Pires. Only Pouget in advance of him. Calm back pass by Dennis Wise, for which De Hoy might not thank him.
Nasty bouncing ball, very windy down there now, and De Hoy doing probably the most sensible thing, really.
Fischer. He might wish that he'd waited his moment a little longer.
Probably enjoy the second half attacking the shed end. Is it still called the shed?
Of course.
Is it more?
Just they pay more to sit in it these days, David.
I thought it was called the hotel end or something now.
Quick word in summary, David, at the end of the first half.
Well, I think Chelsea have done well. They've compressed the play in the middle of the field. The three midfield players have all worked very hard. They've nullified the skill of Pires in there. Even so, like every team, they had their 5 minutes of good attacking play where Chelsea defended very well. But I think in that position where they have the ball now, that's where Chelsea have done well. Playing behind the centre-backs, getting runners in, and then when they get there, they've been getting crosses in early. I think it's been a comfortable half for Chelsea. They played well. They fully deserve the one-goal lead.
It's a half which is now complete. Gianfranco Zola has weaved a little bit of magic. Dennis Wise has got stuck in the middle third. There have been plenty of talking points, amongst which the tastiest was the Chelsea goal scored by Dennis Wise. And look how he laughs with joy. He means it. His eyes are full of fire. Chelsea have the lead. It's interesting to hear talk of discipline in the Chelsea ranks. Their record in Europe on that front, Dennis Wise included there, has been very good. Until tonight, only 8 yellow cards in 11 games. Chris Sutton sending off against Hertha Berlin slightly blotted the copybook, as indeed did the managers in Rome. But on the whole, they've kept their wits about them, and they have the best record, in fact, in those terms of those remaining in the competition. More pertinently, they have the lead. And David, how will they go about keeping it or indeed extending it? I'll ask you that in just a second. Brando's on the ball now. He's away from Desailly and he's scraped it across goal.
Well, Chelsea won't need to change anything at the moment because they were having the majority of the possession, almost to 60% of the possession, and they were playing with more fluidity than Marseille. I think the major problems that Vialli will have is if, as the game wears on, Marseille throw caution to the wind, and we'll have to concentrate on good counter-attacking. I certainly think the full-backs of Marseille haven't done enough.
Poyet through the channel, Zola onto it. Luxin at his back and tackling well. This is Fischer. Burf across. Interesting to hear that he was admonished to a certain degree by Graham Rix and co. And backed by Bardonado. Interesting too seeing Zola hurry through there and again fail to get a shot away on goal, which is in no way indicative of a performance that has been anything other than excellent. That Chelsea's goals are coming from all over the place in Europe this year. In the 11 games they've used 24 different players but had 11 different goal scorers.
They made one significant change tactically on the field, have Marseille. Dalmat's gone central and Laura has gone into the wide left-back pushed-in role as a wing-back. He wasn't effective in the first half. He made a few tackles, mind you, but Dalmat is much more creative, and I shall watch him very this half.
Morris with the latest fiery challenge. That one on Pires. Free kick away by Leboeuf. Fischer. Pires is still wide in the aftermath of the set piece. Desailly got it clear for Babbayaro, who couldn't keep it in. Celestine Babbayaro was one of those who lost his record of being the only outfield player with every minute of the Champions League this season under his belt when he went absent and was therefore not considered in Marseille last week. Here's Flo. Babayaro. Morris. Deschamps. Leboeuf. Well cut out by Abardonado, read it nicely, brought it down neatly and was helped out by Leroy. Brando. Fischer. Cross goes Desailly, but he's only found Pires, who rather lumped his first touch. Had there been a greater subtlety about Pires' pass, then Desailly could have been made to pay.
Just one or two cracks you sense in the Leboeuf-Desailly partnership.
Fischer. It's another potential topic for debate. Emerson Tom has been playing really well. Pires. Bakayoko. Dalmat following through. And Leboeuf striding out. And Wise with a bit of space, and with Flo in one direction and Zola in the other. He's picked out Flo. There was too much on the pass. Andre Flo, one of three in this side who's played each one of the 11 European games for Chelsea, including both against Skonto Riga right back at the start. Desailly. Zola got up nicely. Deschamps. Flo wide. Poyet through the middle. Zola's the extra pass. It is Gianfranco Zola. They got a touch on the way through. One day his dream will come again. Hasn't scored at Stamford Bridge except from the penalty spot since the opening day of the season.
Who would have believed that?
Leboeuf forward for the corner that at least he has one. Abardonado with Leboeuf at the near post. Dennis Wise, when he issues an instruction, it stays issued. Babayaro's come forward to the near post. Desailly's running around in there as well. Oh, it's been well worked. Zola's ball in. Cyprien up in the air. Looks our way. Wise was a last line of defence down that channel and was determined that there wasn't going to be a way past him. And the yellow card has been shown to Puget. Two stout little fellas getting involved. The ball became a bit of an irrelevance. The free kick has been given against Wise, but the card has been shown to Puget.
At first it looked as though it was a bit of a lunge by Wise, but his feet were quite low. Puget reacted, and the referee gave the first one.
Leroy. Abardonado. Charged down by Flo. He just wanted a happier bounce. Poyet. Zola. Looks sound clear. Dalmat onto it. New position, new range of pass perhaps. Bakayoko. Came for Leboeuf. Flo again has pulled away wide, and Zola's gone through the middle, and Poyet's gone through the middle, and Leboeuf has stayed forward, and Flo has crossed behind Frank Leboeuf, who's turning Fischer. Well there, Leboeuf for a centre-half. Genuine twinkle toes. Zola. Deschamps. Wise was the next square ball, but Bakayoko won it, and Pires now can stride imperiously forward. This is Puget. Oh, it went through Desailly's legs. But Babayaro was there to spare his embarrassment, but not to clear terribly effectively. Brando, Bakayoko. The first half, Chelsea just took a nasty 5 minutes off at the back, and it nearly cost them dear. Wits need to be kept about them. Poyet, Flo. Away from Abardonado. And from Delmar, and Bardonado a second time. Luxin hooks it into the gusty air. It is a bit of a windy night.
It's interesting, Peter, because sometimes when games are like this, ebb and flow, and this half started like that, Marseille attacking, then Chelsea attacking. It's hardly been an offside decision in the whole game, possibly one, maybe two, I don't know. And I just feel sometimes Marseille should just step up when that ball goes over the top and just try and catch Chelsea.
Morris. There's a hopeful ball up the line, but Zola was quickly onto it. He's got away from Cyprien, who tried to bulk him, and he's got away from Fischer. Morris. Next one on is Deschamps. Morris might have a little go himself here. Dalmar's challenge, Chelsea's free kick. Now for 20 minutes after training yesterday, Delmar the offender. And the offence was on Morris. There. For 20 minutes after training yesterday, I watched Gianfranco Zola alone with Carlo Cudicini in goal, practicing free kicks from this range. He put an awful lot into it. He was hitting posts and crossbars. There were 4 plastic men in the wall. Gusty night. These are conditions he could use to his benefit. Babayaro's alongside him. Leboeuf is the more thunderous hitter. Zola's due one. It is Zola! He's getting closer.
He got a fair height on the ball to beat the wall. I didn't think the wall was 10 yards in the first place. But Trevisan wasn't troubled at all.
10 minutes into the second half at Stamford Bridge. If you're joining us late, Dennis Wise scored just before the half hour in the first half. Always a joyous occasion when he scores, especially at the shed end. It was a feisty first half. Indeed, the goal followed an incident in which Perez, the full-back for Marseille, got injured. This is Morris. Teasing Cyprien and teasing Dalmar. Perez is having to come deep on occasions to aid in defence. Dalmar clear. And Leboeuf across. Wise. Poyet. Looks stuck out a leg and did just enough. Fischer. Poyet for Zola, whose creativity is undimmed by his unproductiveness himself in front of goal. And he was seeking out Poyet then. Luxin sweeping up cleverly again.
Zola's finding space relatively easily. He's playing with all his skills and flair tonight. He's a real inventive player. In the game in Marseille last week, he seemed to know what he was doing, but he always seemed to get caught in possession. But tonight he's enjoying himself.
Leroy. Dalmar making the diagonal run in front of him. Bakayoko now. And Perez. And Fischer overlapping. And Fischer's delivery, it's got far too much on it for Leroy. And Ferrer can let it go.
That's a very poor cross. No conviction at all there by Fischer. The onus is on him to get forward as much as possible to try and support the midfield.
Bernard Cassoni was the youth team coach at Marseille until Roland Courbet got his marching orders. at the back end of November. There is Gianluca Vialli. Suspended last week, of course. Flo going in boisterously on the edge of the penalty area, and this time getting the benefit of any physical doubt there may have been. Another chance for Zola perhaps to rehearse. Dennis Wise is alongside him too. Chelsea really could do with doubling up this lead. Zola this time has got to flight it into the back post, and Cyprien has got it away. Much of Chelsea's success in this competition has been built on their excellent defensive record. Only 5 goals conceded in 11 European matches. It's joint best in this competition. Goals, when they've come, have tended to come in clutches. Wise looking to make one of those clutches. Poyet going to the near post. And unable to arch neck and head round the header.
You spoke early on, Peter, about them being a small side, Chelsea. Well, they certainly are in midfield, but when they come up for the set plays, Desailly and Leboeuf, Flo and Poyet are a formidable foursome.
Desailly, Flo is certainly big enough. Zola doesn't need size. Out by Bardonado. The man they call Pancho, the man who was brought up on the same estate as Zinedine Zidane in Marseille. Zola's ball in. Fischer's header away. Wise with the instant and instinctive crack, which lifted up off Cyprien and into the goalkeeper's arms.
It was a poor header by our man Fischer there. Dennis Wise nearly snapped it up.
Dennis Wise actually joined Wimbledon from Southampton, where he did his apprenticeship 15 years ago this month. And if you think how he has come on as an individual and as a player to the point where he's getting the kind of accolades he did from Terry Venables at half-time, it's been quite a growth. And you would think heavily penciled in, if not inked, for Euro 2000. Puget. He's a player with instinct and with desire, and with more, as the chaps were saying at half-time, than some are prepared to give him. He's more than just a feisty little so-and-so. Bardonado. Not happening for Pires tonight in the way that it did in Le Stade Velodrome 8 days ago. Poyet. Zola. What's his idea this time? It's the free flow.
I would have thought Marseille will try and change the formation or do something at the moment. They don't really look a threat. Whether they can get some more advance width. They're playing quite narrow up the front. Whether they should push Pires further up to make a threesome and play a slightly longer game. But at the moment...
Perez made a mistake here, and Leboeuf's had to get him out of trouble. It's worked out nicely for Chelsea. Wise. Poyet. Flow through the middle, he won't be first there. That's Poyet, who scored the goal last May against Leeds, which confirmed Chelsea in third place and in the Champions League. Saturday's goal at Newcastle took them back into third place and perhaps into the Champions League again in the coming year. Luxin. Fischer. Puget. Desailly doing the jockeying and doing it strongly enough. Puget feels a little hard done by. Babayaro gave it away to Dalma, not the best chap to give it away to. And Dalma's still going, and he's worked cleverly to find Pires, and Pires has found Leroy, and Chelsea are stretched here. It's Jerome Leroy, and Leboeuf stood up tall and headed away, and is right to ball out some of those around him.
Good imagination there by Pires. After he played Leroy, he quickly went round his back to try and make the extra man. Chelsea defence swayed over and the shot opened up.
Pires. Fischer! It's dream time for Yannick Fischer, who was out of the first team all of last season with knee ligament problems and is still battling his way back really to full fitness. And it looks as though Ivan de la Peña, the one-time Barcelona hero, who's had a little bit of a fall from grace since those heady days, is preparing to come on as he did in the first game. Those Chelsea supporters haven't seen their side lose at Stamford Bridge this side of Christmas. Only Arsenal and Leeds have come here in the Premiership and won this season. Huddersfield Town as well in the League Cup, albeit against a much weakened side. There's Flo apparently legitimately trying to play the ball. And Flo winning the ball. Poyet. Wise, look at Zola gallop ahead of him. He's so eager for the ball. Wise again.
I think this half there's less movement probably from Chelsea's midfield to join in with the front players when the ball's getting played forward. Certainly Poyet supporting the front two, but probably less movement from midfield.
De Hoy has brought solidity to the Chelsea goalkeeping situation since Peter Bonetti, whose record, of course, is just broken. They've tried so many. Only Edin Izvicki, who's now his coach, has really been in possession of the goalkeeping jersey for a prolonged period of time before injury cost him his career. We've had Freestone and Francis, Godden, Hitchcock, Besant, Barota. You'll remember them all. Karine, Grodash.
They shouldn't have conceded a goal at all with all that lot.
Well, 20 minutes into the second half of this game, they still haven't. Ed De Hoy is on course for his next clean sheet, and it's Leroy who's giving way to De La Peña here. Leroy went to the touchline and then was turned back because it's Cyprien instead who is being replaced. Van de la Peña, who's on loan from Lazio and will return to that club at the end of the season. It isn't perceived to have worked out especially well in his short time in the south of France.
Well, Fischer on the ball there, he's gone to right-sided, centre-back now of three. Leroy has gone over onto the right side. And Dalmat, after his little excursion in the centre of the field, has gone back to where he was in the first half, wide left, hoping to try and take advantage of his attacking skill and pace, but Leboeuf comfortable there.
Oh, it's well worked by Leboeuf. Now Deschamps, has he got the right ball? Not quite. Luxan was there to meet him, and Wise might have played the cleverer one into wide open space, occupied now only by Celestine Babbayaro. Babayaro's cross, Flo arriving, he got under it. It'd be interesting to know whether there was a shout from Poyet behind him.
Well, there's always a danger when they cross the ball because the two of them, particularly Poyet, gets in from deep positions. Flo's disappointed, I think.
Pires will have to get forward more as we head into the last quarter of the game and worry the likes of Leboeuf alongside Bakayoko and Puget. La Peña there was a big favourite of Bobby Robson's in his Barcelona days, but not really a Van Gaal man. Brando, De La Peña, Leroy. Deschamps broke it up as so often he does. Flo, neatly away from two challengers. Poyet, Zola. Teasing and worrying Abardonado. Gianfranco Zola just wanted to ride one challenge too many. Dalma. Certainly eerie silence has fallen over the ground now. There's a nervousness you feel about Chelsea supporters who know how important the win would be here, but who are worried that it's not in the pocket yet. Bakayoko, that's a strong turn. Leboeuf cut it out. It came wide to Puget. Puget's cross. And Ferrer, maybe unaware that there was no one really threatening behind him, decided that safe rather than sorry was the correct option and headed behind.
Always a difficult position that for a full-back.
De Hoy barking out the orders. Dalma with a set piece and don't come for this, and on the whole, you back him. 6'6". Deschamps, Zola. Well by Abardonado. The man they call Pancho. Poyet through the middle. Flo was nearly there. Luxan was. However, you compare and contrast the two Marseille performances over 2 weeks. Luxan there has stood out as a really accomplished-looking player. Meantime, Poyet has been penalised. De La Peña.
No movement from the Chelsea bench at all. Often at this time in the game we see someone like Sutton getting stripped for action, but...
Deschamps for Poyet. Flo all alone, but just pushed too wide by the pass. Wise in the penalty area, Poyet in the penalty area. Flo tried to go himself, but they stuck 2 on him, and the 2 did the job, and Brando picks up the pieces.
Yeah, I was going to make the point that the Chelsea movement of the 3 front players has been good all night, and it may be that Vialli will resist the temptation to change.
Pires. Puget, if he can keep it in, he can't. Vialli keeping all his cards up his sleeve. Lots of options there behind him. Graham Rix alongside there, who knows a bit about French football. He had a spell at Caen towards the end of his career. Deschamps. Babayaro, Wise. Poyet's onto this. And Luxan's at a full stretch, and Poyet did well to get away a shot, albeit that it wasn't especially venomous. You'd have made him second favourite to make contact. Brando. Fischer and then Luxan. De La Peña. Bakayoko going in. Leboeuf away. It's quieter, it's cagier. It's a little more invoking of anxiety if you are the manager of Chelsea. Dalma. Yeah, lost off Wise.
You could say, Peter, there's just a little zip, and that in vogue word, tempo, just gone out of the Chelsea play. It's not surprising, really.
Dalma's played it in, and Puget's in there, and Desai is in there with him too. Those two had a fair old war last time out, and they have redrawn battle lines.
Tonight's attendance is 33,206, 33206. Thank you all for your support.
Bardonado's throw. Marseille have never won a football match in this country. Lost, of course, to Manchester United the other week. And back in the 70s, they had a Cup Winners' Cup tie against Southampton, which they lost 4-0 down at the Dell. That was even before he was playing Cassoni. 4th goal that night was scored by Peter Osgood for Southampton, who, as coincidence would have it, is Chelsea's top scorer in European competition.
Yeah, they're certainly not the quality of side when, for example, Waddle and Papin played, tremendous players in a great side.
Flo. In by Morris. That's a smashing pass and well taken by Zola and lifted in by Zola. Just in advance of Wise. And out by Fischer. Babayaro. Deschamps. Now he's found Zola all alone. He's got round the back here, Gianfranco Zola. Just didn't come down for him. Still might, still Zola. And Trevisan went to earth and then gathered it in. Pires. Leroy. Brando. Shrugged off Flo. Puget.
Nothing in the box there for Puget. He looked up, saw one player, Bakayoko. Don't flood the box like Chelsea.
Dalma. Out by Desailly, came to De La Peña. Broken up by Wise. Poyet. Chelsea have a good number forward here. It's 5 against 4 for a second if Chelsea can make it pay. This is Zola. This is Flo. Jody Morris perhaps. Just not happening.
A good decision by the referee. Yeah, just a little bit of overindulgence. They need the second goal. Shouldn't take liberties around the box. Got to be positive. Once or twice Flo and then Zola have tried to beat people instead of getting the shot in quickly. Don't have to go past the last man.
Dalma. Ferrer tracking him. Delmar's done well. Leboeuf met it at the near post. Delmar might have another go here and might have another go here. And Desailly eventually clearing. Pires back in and via Desailly's shin into the shed for a corner. It's perhaps too pessimistic a view, but when it goes quiet like this and Chelsea are failing just to pick it up and make the chances at the other end, you do start to worry a bit from a British perspective. De La Peña's corner. Brando away from Zola. Through by Delmar. And of all people, Bardonado crept up inside the penalty area and finished as a centre-half might feel he's entitled to do.
It was a difficult chance to take, but I mean, it was a ball coming over his shoulder. We saw a magnificent one last night from Solskjaer. But he stabbed at it, caught it on the bounce. In actual fact, it was in a very good position, and obviously, being a defender, didn't realise.
He did score one of 4 against Paris Saint-Germain a couple of weeks back in their big domestic result of the season. Remember that Marseille are only 4 points outside of the relegation zone in France. It's a crazily awful position for one of the, if not the biggest clubs in the land. Less than a quarter of an hour to play. Chelsea not doing too much more than hanging on here. The vibes in the first half were good, but there's a nervousness about what has happened since the interval.
You're quite right, Chelsea have taken their foot off the gas, but it's really because defenders have been restrained. Ferrer and Babayaro aren't going forward. Deschamps doing a good job sitting. Morris isn't really making any forward runs. Wise is making passes. And when the ball goes forward, really, they're content. Here's Deschamps.
Deschamps. Zola offside. Flags up. It wouldn't have counted. The Spanish official had seen him get just in advance of the last defender. Oh, it was very close. You admonished me for saying marginal last week, David, but that would seem to have been the pertinent adjective.
Marginal. But it was only, I think, possibly the second or the third time in the game that anyone has been caught. bit of movement on the Chelsea bench.
It looks like Di Matteo could be about involved. He's been a frequent substitute on Champions League nights. Wise is playing it through. Incidentally, tonight's other game, Feyenoord Lazio, still 0-0 in this group. Feyenoord, remember, were top at start of play, and Lazio were absolutely identical in terms of their record with Chelsea, on 4 points behind Feyenoord 6. So if it were to remain this way, then Feyenoord would be 7 points, Chelsea would be 7 points as well.
Results aren't always indicative of the performances of the teams, but in terms of footballing ability, I'm quite sure in this group that Lazio and Chelsea are the best two teams.
Now, John Harley and Roberto Di Matteo. Harley, interesting one. He missed a Newcastle game after requiring an injection in his big toe when he stubbed his foot in Marseille. Zola is one of those giving way, and Deschamps is the other. Well, he's been fun to watch again tonight, Zola. Deschamps will be disappointed that for the second week running he's been withdrawn before the 90 minutes. Harley's a young man who's showing himself to have a big heart, big talent. Di Matteo, we know all about.
I don't think they'll be too disappointed, really. They know they've done a good job, and they know it's purely for tactical reasons, just to have a couple of younger legs, or a couple of pairs of younger legs.
Harley winning his first header. He incidentally has gone into the left side of midfield. Babayaro is still at left full back. Have two specialists in that area on the field at the same time. De La Peña seeking out the area that those two are patrolling, and it's Harley first on the scene. Leroy with the ball. De La Peña. Pires. Leroy. De La Peña. And still Desailly across. Harley. There was some prepared to make a lot of his absence when Pires scored that goal in Marseille last week. He ran away from Desailly, but Harley was elsewhere upfield. He's on a learning curve, and Chelsea are in trouble for a moment here. Desailly saved them as Pires went thundering towards goal. The initial instinct was to feel that he took the ball. As Bakayoko's turn. Maybe it was Wise's challenge which was deemed worthy of the free kick.
I think it was an accident.
So important for Chelsea's longer-term future that they let nothing slip now. Luxin again, the sweeper, could be a striker. De La Peña's having a go! Oh, he's hit the post! That was a terrific effort.
That was a tremendous swerve, a little bit of wind helping it on with the pace. De Hoy did very well to get across, but a couple of inches and that would have been a magnificent equaliser.
Of course, an English team effectively put a French team out of the Champions League last night. A Chelsea win here wouldn't be quite as near fatal a blow to Marseille, but they would be stuck at the bottom and would require some handy arithmetical coincidences if they were to get through and recover from this. They desperately need a goal now. De La Peña. Puget. De La Peña. Pires from deep. De La Peña. Brando. Dalma. Bardonado's gone outside of him. Dalma has weaved his way in. Wise got a half tackle in. It came to Bakayoko. This is Robert Pires. You know what a danger he is from this sort of area. This is Leroy. It's Jerome Leroy, and it's clawed away by Ed De Hoy. Chelsea are hanging on here. It's a nervous time. It's behind for a corner.
Terrific overhead kick. And I was just about to say that for all the possession that they're having at the moment, Marseille, they lack that urgency and that cutting thrust in the box.
Dalma's corner. Dalma. Leboeuf's header away. De La Peña. Oh, it's clever. Oh, it's a super ball. It's Bakayoko. He's very strong, this fella. Needed 2 or 3 of Chelsea's genuine bruises there to prevent him from muscling his way into the box.
Yeah, he's powerful, but you know, De La Peña's made a big difference. Sliding clever balls through.
Chelsea at full stretch at the back here. Just 1 goal to the good. De Gea has come for the corner. He felt he was balked and he's received the benefit of any doubt. The referee watching closely as he was balked going up. And he's got hurt as well. And if this is to turn out to be a clean sheet for Ed de Gea, then of all the 23, this is one he will really have earned.
I wonder, you know, if that was going wide, but didn't he take it well?
And now here's the moment, David, when going up for the corner, he clattered into someone. It may even have been one of his own colleagues and went down awkwardly, and he's still down. Interestingly, on the question of this record of clean sheets, it is open to argument that he has broken the record, because in Riga, in the qualifying for this competition, he did have to go off injured and was replaced by the man doing up his bootlaces there, Carlo Cudicini, who's played 101 first-team minutes since being in the employ of Gianluca Vialli.
I always feel that goalkeeper clean sheets is often a reflection as well of the team and the defenders in front of them. And the 2 centre-backs that Chelsea have, Desai and Leboeuf, World Cup winners, I mean, they are top players. They give him tremendous protection.
By the way, that last angle we saw there confirmed, didn't it, that it was Bakayoko's challenge which caused the injury. De Gea is okay, Chelsea are attacking, Di Matteo's on the ball. Bardonado is well stationed at the near post. Ivan De La Peña is his outlet. This is Pires. Dalma is the simple pass. Didn't want to do it simply, he ran into Morris from Wise. Wise was penalised. Less than 5 minutes to play. Dennis Wise's goal separates the sides in a tight group in which the other game is all square. This could be massively valuable for Chelsea. De La Peña's free kick is just what Chelsea would have ordered.
I mean, that's a surprise. A free kick from the halfway line like that. Only 2 white shirts in the box. They just haven't got that determination to muscle and fight for a goal, which they need at this stage of the game. No centre-halves looking to go up. The wide players, Leroy was very near the touchline when that ball was played.
The noise, the singing is what Chelsea need now. They have to be encouraged through to the end. But as we head into its closing stages, this evening is so far going just as Chelsea would have dreamt. The others are taking points from each other. Chelsea are defending maximum points. Leboeuf has conceded the corner. It's been taken quickly and short. Dalma has fired it in. Poyet has hooked it away. De La Peña's pulling the strings a bit now for Marseille. Trying to get Dalma away down the flank. Ferrer across. A player who, unspectacularly, week by week, never lets Chelsea down. And, of course, a winner of this competition, the Barcelona side that beat Sampdoria at Wembley in 1992. Pires. Nice little party piece, but it didn't come for Bakayoko. His flow. Ran out of things to do. And was left only to play for touch. There hasn't been a prolonged easing of the pressure on the Chelsea penalty area for a good 5 or 7 minutes now.
But they are sitting deeper now, Chelsea, and they're not pressurising early up the field, so they're giving a clear possession to the back 3 of Marseille, and they're able to put balls into areas where they want. But Chelsea have enough men back. They're competing for everything. It's just that it looks worse than it is because Marseille are having the possession.
Harley cleverly going about his business, keeping possession and taunting Fischer at the touchline there, and Fischer receives a yellow card. Harley was just too neat for him. Just back from a suspension, and the first step on the road to another one. Babiaro's free kick. Poyet won it in the air. Flo's getting in here. Abardonado away. Fischer further clear. Marseille really having to chase now. Everything for them will have to be done in a hurry. Babiaro going in with understandable vigour and desire at this stage of a contest. 90 seconds as things stand between Chelsea and the group leadership, on the basis of their thumping win over Feyenoord here before Christmas. Dalma onto the chest of Bakayoko, away by Desailly, held up by Poyet, touch from Di Matteo. Bit more space for Poyet this time. Flo needs to hold his line and stay onside. Poyet waited for him and the whole thing lost momentum.
Yeah, he expected Di Matteo to make that run behind Abelardo.
De La Peña. Bakayoko wanted ahead of Leboeuf, but Babiaro was right behind. This is Poyet. Harley. We'll see slowing it down and working it well. Babiaro for Harley. Harley delivering to the back post. Pires with the cushioned header. Gave Abardonado a shout.
Well, I'm quite pleased in a way that Harley had the gumption to put that cross in. He could have easily gone towards the corner flag and started fiddling around with the ball and playing for a few seconds.
As we head towards stoppage time, Marseille have a direct free kick. 3 extra minutes will be played. De La Peña, we've already seen, is willing and hugely able to strike at De Gey's goal from this kind of range. And he's pushing the rest of them away. It is going to be Ivan De La Peña. He's lifted it in this time. And it came to Abardonado, and it was scraped away by Babiaro. Chelsea under the cosh right to the end. De Gey has come for the cross. He's got some distance on the punch. Harley helped it on its way. De La Peña back in. Bakayoko backing into Leboeuf, who went down, and Chelsea have a free kick that will ease the pressure and will frustrate Ibrahima Bakayoko.
That's clever play by Leboeuf, playing that ball wide there early to Harley. I think he probably knew the referee would call him back. The referee didn't see the free kick. Valuable seconds eaten up.
No rush now for Chelsea. It'll be 5 goals conceded, all being well now in a dozen European matches. And if you base your side on strong defence, then they are basing their side very properly. Di Matteo. Ferrer flags up against Flo. You have to say that the linesman thought and thought again before raising the flag. 90 seconds of stoppage time left. Bakayoko's got goal side of Leboeuf. He's given it to Puget, and Puget's gone between Babiaro's legs. There were sufficient reinforcements. Brando. Oh, it's come beyond Ferrer. It's Bakayoko. Oh! That close. Chelsea's whole European season was 6 inches away, potentially, from being turned back in the wrong direction.
Well, the nervousness continues. Bakayoko, he's had a good game. That was a good ball from Brando. And a little unlucky, had to take the shot quickly.
He won't be thrilled, I wouldn't have thought, with what he saw in the second half, Gianluca Vialli, but that sentiment will be overridden vastly by the result if it turns out to be this result, and Chelsea are about half a minute away from having it. Forward by Fischer, turned by Puget. This one really is not over till it's over. Wise. Poyet. That's what Chelsea needed. And now Flo for the corner maybe, with Harley outside of him. Babayara. Flo, Wise is offside. 3 minutes of stoppage time are enough. Dennis Wise's goal has won it for Chelsea. Gianluca Vialli's lack of smile may suggest that on the field he wasn't too happy. Ken Bates' handshake would suggest that off it, this is worth a quid or two to the club. Ed De Hoy has another clean sheet. Those paying spectators have another win to celebrate. Chelsea scarves may well be apparent all over the continent for a prolonged period this spring. Dennis Wise has Chelsea back on track.